Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Son of Steele podcast. My name is Steele and I'm here with my co-host, as always, Aiden Fitzgerald. Today, we have a very special guest, one of Aiden and I's very close friends, our old roommate, University of Michigan cheer captain, two-time national champ, Zoie Jones. Zoie, how you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on, you guys. I'm so excited. Thanks for the great introduction.
Yeah, anytime. So I heard you just got out of cheer camp. How did that go? Things going
How's
well
the
with the team?
concussion doing?
How are things looking?
It was really fun. It was a long couple of days, but we came out with a silver bid, which was really good, and we won most collegiate again, so that was good. Got to learn a lot of new skills at NCAA camp, so we had a good time.
So looking forward to next season, do you think your team's going to be able to repeat? Where do you think you guys stand?
I think we're in a good position right now. We have a lot of returners, only a couple of newbies. So I think last year was a lot about rebuilding the program, but this year we kind of have a really solid foundation. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to repeat both titles again.
I like how you say rebuild after winning, back to back national champions. Very humble, I see this morning.
Okay, well, we had COVID, which knocked us down a little bit. We lost a lot of people. And it was really hard to recruit boys for the team. So last year we actually only had a couple returning men and we had to recruit, I think we had 12 new people. And so we had to really build that from the ground up and teach them everything in a really short amount of time. And we pulled it off somehow. So
For our viewers that don't know out there, Zoe's also multifaceted. She actually took, was it second in her fantasy football league last year? It's one of the big things we wanted to ask her about because she had a very interesting strategy that I won't get into yet and let her to explain that. But what are the outlooks this year? I know you said you want to play even maybe more involved this year in your cheer fantasy football league, but can you go in and explain that strategy a little bit?
yeah, so last year, the boys in my team needed one more person to play fantasy football. So obviously I offered. It started up as all of the girls together did the draft. And because we really don't know anything about football, we just chose any players we thought were cute. And we chose players that we thought might maybe make some of my other teammates angry. So for example, we took Aaron Rodgers because I know that that's Dylan's quarterback.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because Aaron Rodgers is he's a lot of things, but he's not cute. So kind of went away from the strategy there.
Aaron Rodgers is daddy. I don't know what you mean, but whatever you want to say.
Yeah, well, that one was more of like a spite thing. I knew that Dylan really wanted Aaron Rodgers, but he wasn't going to go for him first round because he needed to go for, I don't know, other people. But I was definitely bold enough to take Aaron Rodgers first round. So that's what I did. And
you also took 3 kickers, so I just like to point that out.
And she still beat you. Wow.
We don't got to talk about it. If Derrick Henry didn't get hurt, I would have won. So it's fine. It's fine.
Anyways, I did beat everyone. And nobody told me that I could trade players until like week 3 or 4. So the fact that I didn't trade for the first like 3 or 4 weeks and I still got second place is kind of a big deal. It means I'm really good, I think.
Exactly. So what sleepers are you going for this year? What's the one player you really want on your team?
I'm thinking the quarterback from Clemson with the long hair, Trevor Lawrence.
Ooh, he's actually a big breakout candidate this year. One of our friends, like Tage, who was the first person on Son of Steele, I think he drafted him in our league this past Monday. Really thinks he could break out this year. I don't really see it. I still think the Jags are kind of a dumpster fire. I mean, they got the Doug Peterson in, but yeah. What do you think, Dylan? Does Lawrence got in him?
I mean, it's one of those things where it's hard to tell. I've said with Lawrence in the beginning, it's hard. He's never had to fight through adversity in his football career until last season. You look at his high school stats. I think he only lost in the championship game in high school, if I remember correctly. And then in college, I believe he only lost in the college football playoffs. I don't think he suffered a regular season loss that he was playing in at Clemson. So now that he's on a team that's an absolute dumpster fire, he needs to take over as a leader. I'm not sure he has it in him, to be honest with you. I think having his college running back with him, Travis Etienne, that'll help him out a little bit with the confidence, that type of thing. But I think at the end of the day, I just don't see it. I don't think he has it in him. I don't think he has the commitment. I don't think he knows how to get through adversity at all. So I just don't see
Damn.
it happening.
Really
So
just shitting on this man right now. Yeah.
I just don't see
Okay.
it. I don't see it. He's no Zach Wilson. He can't lead a locker room like he does. Maybe he needs to go on a psychedelic trip like Aaron Rodgers to figure himself out. But until then, I'm not bought out of Trevor Lawrence. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on a little bit. I know last year you guys had a pretty amazing fantasy football punishment. We can go in. Would you like to describe that, Dylan? What happened to one of your teammates?
Yeah. So our teammate Jackson ended up losing. Terrible at fantasy. No idea what he was
Really,
doing.
really bad.
I mean, awful.
Steelers fan, of
Like
course.
he put up like 50 or 60 points some weeks. Like I don't know how. Like you'd have to try to be that bad, I think. So anyway, we put him in a dress and sent him to a nightclub one night. Yeah, so he went out there, had to dance it up on the dance floor. It was a great time. He was embarrassed. It's great. He's
Was
like
he
6'5", so the dress didn't really fit. I mean, I think so. I think he tried to hide it, but like if you looked at him, like he definitely didn't want to be there.
I don't know. If you really look closely, I think he had a little too much fun with that. Something
A
going
little too
on
much.
there. What do you? I
Do you
think
think
Zoe,
this
you were
year?
there. Zoe, you were there too. What do you think? What do you think about the whole ordeal?
I think he really embraced it. He was wearing like a nice skin tight dress, and I think the only way really to go through that is to embrace what's happening, because if you're embarrassed, you're just not gonna have fun. So yeah, maybe he did have a little too
Well,
much
the
fun.
point isn't to have fun; it's to be punished.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. Maybe you should get him on here and see what he feels about it.
Oh god, we for our viewers out there, we did actually have a pre-pilot podcast with this said man, and it got nasty. So that's never seen the day. That's not never seen the light.
Cancel every single person
Yeah.
involved with that.
The reason I'm
Yeah.
asking though is like we're actually my league. I took last place last year. Well, I took last place in the regular season, so we actually have two
Fucking
losers.
suck.
Last
You
season,
fucking suck.
anyway, did not take last place in the postseason. Had a lot of injuries. But postseason I was healthy for it. Took seventh, and we're doing two losers. The other person we already have an idea. So he's actually in a frat at Kettering Universities, and he has to like do dishes a couple times a week for his frat. So until he wins a game, he has to do all his dishes in a maid costume. Yeah, like a full-on maid, like in front of all his frat brothers. So the thing is, we're still trying to think of one for me. We had a couple ideas. The original idea is like what we're gonna do is me and this other guy, we're gonna do a beer mile. And what a beer mile is basically every quarter mile you're running around a track, you have to chug a beer and then you just keep running. And we were gonna do it to like 2 miles, but I don't do cardio. Me and cardio, we don't get along. It's just I like working out, just not that. It needs to be like a sport, and I don't think running is a sport. So getting back on track, basically what we're gonna do is every quarter mile, I'm gonna chug 2 beers, and I'm not great at chugging beer. So like it's gonna be fun. But what ideas do you guys have this year for your fantasy punishment, and or ideas that my league can do? Because we need 2 every year.
I mean, there's always the one. I mean, the Waffle House one is a fan
Is that a
favorite.
punishment?
I think no, that's not a punishment, dude. Set me in a Waffle House, bro, for 24 hours. I'll just down waffles, be the happiest human of all time. I don't think that one's bad.
Can you
At
explain what
all.
that punishment is?
So it's basically you go to Waffle House, you have to be there for 24 hours, but every waffle you down, you take an hour off. I can't think of a better place to be than Waffle House. I'm trying to bring one into Ann Arbor. They won't listen to me. They won't respond to my DMs. I love Waffle House, as you guys probably know. Viewers have not heard this yet, but Waffle House is a personality trait. So I don't think that's a punishment, but for other people it might be. But that's always a fan favorite. Zoe,
Yeah.
you have any ideas?
I don't have great ideas, but I will say that Dylan does make us drive 50 minutes to Ohio to get Waffle House on the regular. So I can support that. I feel like that's not really a punishment for Dylan, and I don't really think that's a good one, because I think that that's kind of his dream. So,
Would you say that because he called that a personality trait, he took it that far? Is that a red flag or a green flag?
well,
What's the difference?
oh,
Colorblind joke.
colorblind.
That's a red flag. Colorblind, bad genetics right there. Mm-mm.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Mom, for the fall through that X chromosome. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I know she listens. She's one of 3 people I do. So shout out, Mom.
Whoa. Shout out to the other two. Come on.
But no, I mean, there's some really great fantasy punishments out there. One that I really like is that you have to go back and take like the SAT or ACT and have to get like a certain score until you can stop. That I think would be terrible.
That's really
I think I could just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like when I took that a while ago, it didn't like studying. I studied, I took it twice, got the same exact score. So obviously, for all the kids listening out there, just don't study. You don't need to.
Yeah, but how embarrassing is it though? Like to go back into that room, you're sitting around a bunch of like 16-year-olds
Dude,
shitting
they
their
don't know.
pants, and
I
you're
feel like we
sitting in there
all
with a
look
shirt
pretty
that says
young.
"I suck at fantasy football," trying to take this fucking thing.
Oh yeah, I guess a shirt thing maybe, but like I feel like like all of us like I mean maybe we look a little bit older, but like they wouldn't say anything realistically.
I feel like it would just be so painful to be in that room for like, how long is that? 8 hours? Like,
It's
I
not
think
eight,
It's
it's
like
like three and a
it's like
half.
3 or
It's like
4. Yeah.
eight
What
hours.
are you talking about? Talk
Oh,
about
Hey
that
Zoe,
half.
what's the population of Shelby Township? I think
I
it's a
don't
little less than 1 million. Probably just a safe
about
guess.
about a million, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It, advice though wise, I mean, getting back in the topic of fantasy, I mean, punishments are always like great, but you want to avoid them. I mean, you kind of went the strategy of going for best looks. I don't think I have the keen eye that you have, Zoe, but my fantasy league is a little bit different. It takes a little bit more skill that I do not have. We do not a snake draft, but an auction draft. And this year, my strategy always changes from year to year, but I like to go kind of like bargain barrel. Like typically, like the best players like Christian McCaffrey, the Derrick Henrys of the world go for like let's say like 33% of your overall budget, but I typically try to go like under that. And like basically what I was doing is kind of like because we're doing a 12-man league auction, it takes like a lot of skill to draft wise. I kind of just like to draft for depth. Um, I know like that's a little bit different. Like you guys can't really compare because I don't think you've done an auction draft before. But like when you're drafting, do you have a position you like more on the snake draft? Do you like draft first? Do you like draft like later in the round? What's your go-to, Dylan? If you could choose.
This year I was actually 8th in the league that I'm doing with some of my coworkers. We did it early, so we're dealing with preseason injuries and stuff just because everyone was in the same
Same.
room. Some people have left. But I was 8th, so it was 8-man league. So I had back-to-back picks, and I really like that. Actually, Christian McCaffrey fell to 8th overall, so I ended up having him on my team. Just no one wanted to take that risk back with injury. So I actually ended up pretty well. So I got him and Diggs back-to-back, which I thought was really good. I also got my boy Aaron Rodgers, so fuck you, Zoe. I have my guy this year.
Why would you want
But
him? It's gonna be high in
because
territory.
he's back-to-back MVP, baby. I don't know.
And lost to
Great
OC
coach.
and wide
Doesn't matter,
receivers.
dude. Romeo's going off, but that's a whole different conversation.
Don't even know who that
Um,
is. Maybe an OC.
but he's a new receiver we have. One strategy I really like to do is the tight end strategy. I think a lot of people wait too long to grab them. I think there's a huge gap between the top 5 tight ends and the rest of the league with tight ends. Obviously, the position's changing now with tight end university, stuff like that. But I feel like if you can snag like a Kelsey, an Andrews, a Kittle, someone like that, that's going to kind of boost your team, the guy that's going to get a lot of receptions, a red zone guy, I feel like that's where my strategy is. So yeah, I also probably took a defense a little too early. A lot of people thought, but I like to take that a little earlier. I don't like to cycle them out. I like to get a defense I know is going to be solid every game. So yeah, and I also like to kind of like towards the end of the draft when people are thinking kickers, I'll usually grab someone pretty good. So I got Tucker this year. So I think like just trying to be around ahead of what other people are getting, so you get the best position group. I think that's kind of like the strategy I go with. And
I
rookies.
have a super hot take on kickers, and that's that I feel like you should have at least 3 of them. For example, I drafted Matt Amendola last year. And he was really cute. I don't know how well he kicked, but I kept him the entire year, so that worked for me.
And you still took second place. Like, God, that league is so competitive. Yeah, interesting because I mean, like my league, we don't even have the kicker position. That's just how like hardcore they like to go. I mean, essentially, like the kicker is just straight luck. You need so like we do a double flex. So I mean, that's why I know I mentioned earlier at the auction, like my strategies, I go for like super depth because I'm playing most weeks 4 wide receivers. So you need to have like that extra level. And the fact, I mean, this is the first year ever I drafted a tight end like kind of high. I got Kyle Pitts for decent. I think like 8th in my budget, just kind of a lot for a tight end. But yeah, I mean the fact that you draft defenses and tight ends in general, and that's your strategy and kickers like high. And most people, I mean, that's just like that whole strategy is a shit on. Like you need to just basically go for the best player. I mean, but also McCaffrey falling in your draft, that's insane. I mean, I think he still was the second highest player. Like your league, that league is weird. They don't know what they're doing. Leave it to the baseball boys to not know what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I was surprised he fell that far too. But I mean, like I usually fill out, I get, my 3 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end before I start going for that stuff. Quarterbacks, I think we fall a little bit further because I feel like there's not as big as like you can kind of cycle those out based on matchups and stuff, especially in the Nate versus league.
You're rotating through quarterbacks, but you think you need to draft a defense early. That's an interesting strategy.
Hey man, it's worked before in 8-person leagues for me. So I mean, if it ain't
Oh,
broke, don't fix it.
8-person's a little bit different. You don't really need to
Yeah, it's
matter about depth
obviously
at
like
all.
a
They're
12-person
stacked.
league or something like that. You're a little different, but in an
I've done
8-person
like
league, you kind of get
14
away with something
before.
like
It's just
that.
not fun at that high amount of people.
Yeah, no, then you're picking backups and stuff like that. So
How many people were in your cheer league last year? 'Cause I know that
it
was
was 12
snake
last
draft.
year.
12?
Yeah, it was
Not too
12.
bad. And Zoe still kicked all
Yeah,
your asses.
True.
Derrick Henry
Mo-
didn't get hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. Moving on
It's
to
fine.
another topic that Zoe knows a lot about. For those of you who don't know, Zoe and I had the opportunity, I think it was 2 weekends ago now, to actually go and visit Chicago and see Lollapalooza. And there's a lot of great things that happen on there. But did anything initially stick out to you, Zoe? Like who's the best performer? What thoughts on the city? I'll just set you up there.
Yeah, I really loved Big Sean. I think he played a lot of like his big hits recently and also some of his older hits, which was really fun. And he was just a really great performer and like great energy all around. And I loved having
Energy? I'm sorry.
um I loved having the Chicago skyline as a backdrop for the festival. I think that that was really cool.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, we were really lucky to have some friends that live in Chicago, like a 5-minute walk from the festival. So I think that I know like hotels get expensive and some people take the train in and it's kind of exhausting, but it worked out really well for us because we just had to walk 5 minutes outside of the festival and we were already back. So I had a really great time.
Yeah, funny story. Right when like Big Sean came on, like I literally felt like I was gonna pass out because we went to so I mean obviously Lollapalooza all day, but I think back to back we went right from YG to Big Sean, and I just had like a pretty decent headache going, and then we instantly just get surrounded by this giant crowd, and I have to say like fuck it, I need to go get water. Everybody looks at me as like apparently like when I left, they all said there's no way he finds us again. I don't know how like also the water they have there is cheap for over other things that have the festival, but like it comes in cans and they open it right away. So I just said, like, hey, give me 4 waters. So I'm just carrying like 4 open cans by myself. I just like chugged 2 before I even get back, try to subside that headache. So honestly, I have no recollection of Big Sean. I was just like there was music in the background. And like, I mean, I'm not the biggest Big Sean fan anyway, but yeah. Are you a big Sean fan, Dylan?
I really like what Big Sean's doing for the city of Detroit. That's kind of what I think of when I think of him. I know he's like involved with some strategic marketing for the Pistons and like game coordination and stuff. So really, I think he's an industrial part of the rebuild that's going on in the city there.
Is he
So
from
that's kind of more
Detroit?
what I think of him. Yeah, he's from Detroit. He's always like in a Tigers hat and stuff, and like his I think his Spotify profile is in a Tigers hat.
Yeah,
Or he's like from the area.
he played at Mopop the day later, the festival in Detroit, right after he played at Lollapalooza.
Yeah, so I really like that what he's involved with out there. I wish Eminem would be more involved with some of the sports teams out there too. Just kind of get more of a cultural rapper thing going on. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't at Lala, so I don't know as much about it. When I was in Chicago this summer, I went to a Cubs game and created a beer snake. Um, Took off my shirt and started swinging it around. So we had different Chicago experiences. That's for sure. I regret
Similar,
nothing.
but also the same. I think we drank a decent amount right before entered the Lollapalooza. But yeah, for me, the biggest, like, I was kind of like, I'm like super, super into music. I knew, I think, 4 to 6 people performing that day, and we went to 4 of them. But YG really blew me away. I think, like, by far, I mean, obviously, he doesn't have as big song as J. Cole or Big Sean, but performance wise, I forget, I think is the name of the DJ had one was DJ Vision. Like, them together were just amazing. Like, before they even, like, YG came out, DJ Vision just had played like 8 bangers in a row, just from random artists, and got the crowd really going. And then YG, like, just some of the antics he had going on. I mean, I can't really talk about them on the podcast. Literally going away from the family friendly theme we're going for, but to say he's a man of the people, and really, really got me going. Just laughing. I mean, it's a good concept. You're laughing while also having a good time. What were your thoughts on YG, Zoe?
I think he was a great performer. Again, I didn't know a lot of his songs, so it was like a little bit harder for me to have fun because it's more fun when you can sing along. But I do agree that he was a really good performer, and he was really good at engaging the crowd for sure. So he was really fun to watch.
Oh my God, your comment there, Zoe, in the chat. Anyway, yeah. The thing, like, I mean, one of the main reasons why I wanted to go Saturday, like when you initially suggested that, is big J. Cole was like the main headliner coming at 9, and like his performance, like, what were your thoughts on that? 'Cause, like, my initial like takeaway is like, eh.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I think that Lollapalooza is a festival, so there's lots of different people coming that want to see lots of different artists. So I think that the strategy to go is to play your popular songs at, a festival like that, because you're not necessarily having all your diehard fans there. And, J. Cole really didn't play a lot of his popular songs, or if he did, he only played half of it, or like a
He
little.
did do that. Yeah, it was weird.
And so it was like it would get really exciting, and everyone would get really excited when he would start playing one of his like really popular songs, and then he would stop and play something that less people knew. And I thought that was really interesting. And so, overall he's a really good performer, but I would have liked to see a little bit more of his popular music.
Mhm. Dylan, are you a big J. Cole guy, or what? What's the vibe? Are you more Big Sean?
So definitely a little more Big Sean. I'm not huge into the rap game. I don't know as much. A lot more like country and like emo rap type stuff. Than rap. Well, if I listen to rap, it's more like the older stuff like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. Eminem's a classic. Eminem's new album just dropped. It's not really new, I guess, but it's like a best hits album again. So it's good to hear all that stuff. But I don't think I could name a J. Cole song off the top of my head, in all honesty. I
Really?
don't think I know
Wet
any of them.
Dreams?
No,
Wet Dreams? No Wet Dreams? Okay. Yeah, I mean,
no.
I think Wet Dreams is either a second to last song. And yeah, it was weird. Like, I'd say, like, going back to what I was asking Dylan, I think personally J. Cole is a little bit better than me than Big Sean. Like, I'd probably say, like, I have like 20 to 30 like J. Cole songs like in my playlist. And yeah, like, I think how you said, he played a lot of his smaller stuff, and I'm not, I would say, like, I'm a big fan, but I know all his hits and like a couple other songs that are like a little bit more low key, and he was playing even like other stuff. But he did bring a couple guys from his record label. I can't remember the names at the start, but they had some like the one song in particular really has stuck out to me, and I've started hearing and seeing it a lot more on like TikTok and other platforms. It's kind of becoming like a trend now. Like, do you remember the song "Stick," Zoe?
Yes, you've seen that.
Yes, it's like a thing that I feel like J. Cole just made a thing at Lollapalooza.
I have no idea, honestly. I had never heard of it before, and I had not heard of it when we were there, and it was a little confusing to me, but everybody seemed to go crazy for it. So
What, like, for our viewers out there that may not know what it is, and for Dylan, basically it was a smaller artist on J. Cole's record label, and the song's called Stick, and like there are a few other words to it, but the entire chorus is like, it's kind of like screamo vibes, like early XXX, like him just screaming stick as loud as possible in the mic. But the entire like crowd kind of gets ready for like mosh pits, and they just start going like jumping like crazy. And it's like at this point, it's probably like approaching 10 o'clock in the night. So the sun's down, the lights are on, everybody's just going crazy for someone just shouting stick. I'm like, okay, like this is fun, but like, are there more words to this song? Yeah, but yeah, going back to J. Cole. So Zoe said there were like weird things. Like he would basically like go halfway through his popular songs and just go like one song, but like I played this song 15 years ago when I first came to Lollapalooza. This song's near and dear to my heart. And you got like 10 people in the entire crowd of like a couple thousand that actually know the words to it. And it's just, come on. Yeah. Overall, like that's why I gave it to YG. Like obviously I listened to way more J. Cole than YG, but for actual performance wise, YG was unmatched there. Yeah. Throwing it back to Dylan's way. I know you said you're more of a country guy, and you and Zoe both had the opportunity to go to Faster Horses. Not this past year, but 2 years ago. What was, I mean, I obviously you don't know too much about Lollapalooza, but what was the comparison there, Dylan? Like, why do you think Faster Horse is better? I mean, this is the first year they've ever sold out, so they're definitely getting something going there. What are your thoughts on Faster versus Lala?
I mean, I can't really speak too much on Lala. So I just kind of talk about what I liked about Faster Horses. I think as far as Faster goes, just seeing all of like the lineup they had when I went, Luke Combs being there, he's one of my all-time favorites. Thomas Rhett was there. Jason Aldean is someone I didn't really know too much about. I know he's really popular, but being in Mirror's music, that type of thing. And it's kind of like one thing I really like about music festivals, and I'm sure this is the same at Lala, so I guess it's not really something that's different. But you get those people have like one really good song, and then you end up hearing like their other stuff while you're there. I don't know. Does Lala have a stage, like a smaller stage for like smaller names too?
They
yeah,
have like 8
Okay.
stages. They go nonstop.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I really like that. How you can go to like a different stage and see someone smaller, kind of get like front row, kind of get that experience as well. Um, it's kind of cool. Now, like with my job now, I actually work some concerts and stuff. So just kind of seeing the business aspect of how that works, of like making partnerships with these smaller guys, get a partnership with a bigger guy, go on tour with them to get some exposure. So I think like just the exposure you get from like younger guys is something that I really like. As far as like a music festivals as a whole go, instead of just going to like a singular concert, and you get more bang for your buck too, I think. So yeah.
You have any thoughts on that, Zoe? I know you went to both of them, so you can have a bit more insight on that.
yeah, I think that personally I know a lot more like country music, so I think that Faster Horses, the actual concert was really cool for me because I got to like there were a lot of songs that I knew really well, and it was cool to hear them in person. And like Dylan was saying, lineup last year was really good with like Aldine, Luke Combs, Kelsey Ballerini, I think was there. Um, but I will say that Faster Horses is a lot smaller. There's just one small artist stage and then one main stage, whereas Lala had like a lot of stages. I think maybe at least 8 small artist stages, and it's just like a lot bigger. I would also say the vibes are really different. Lala is more like, I don't know, like wacky outfits, trying to be fashionable, and everybody just at Faster Horses wears like jean shorts and a bathing suit. So very different vibes. Faster Horses is a little bit more wild in my opinion because everybody camps out there. So, you're actually there in the festival for 4 full days. Whereas for Lollapalooza, everybody gets, a hotel room or stays somewhere in Chicago. So it's a little bit more tame in my opinion.
Yeah, I've never been able to get into country music. Sometimes like I'll be flipping through if I'm actually not using my aux and actually on the radio, I'll flipping through like country music, and it just comes on. I just kind of start laughing or something. It's just so different, like
Aiden,
not something I grew up with.
bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, right? Country music, you gotta get your heart broken one time, and then you listen to it, and you're like,
Dylan, I
yeah,
think
like
you've
I get
broken my
it
heart
now.
before.
I probably have, honestly. I'm sorry, Aiden. It's just I don't swing that way, you know. And I'm not
Yeah.
your lab partner, so I don't know what you expect me to do. So
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, getting back to like what you were saying, Zoe, about that whole like fashion vibe, like that's one of the big things. I mean, not just music wise. I mean, obviously, I'm more into like R&B, so I think Lollapalooza is more my vibe. But I I like the idea of having like Chicago in the backdrop. Like every time I'd be listening to like J. Cole or Big Sean, I just look over and just to see that like that skyline was insane. But the fashion was a big thing. I know like Zoe had to get me on my game before we go. Like we were planning out like what we're wearing like a couple weeks out, and it's not just the bathing suit. You want to go in a little bit because I don't. Obviously, you were killing it, Zoe. Want to go into like what you were wearing and maybe what other cool things you saw?
yeah, I think just the big thing about the fashion at Lala is just to go as over the top as you can. And I think it's just a fun thing because there's not a lot of places that it's acceptable to be dressing so over the top and so crazy. But so it's kind of fun to just put together a really weird outfit just to wear for one day. So I know I wore like a bright pink corset top, and then I wore a shirt with or a skirt with like flowers on it, and I wore little like combat boots, and then I had my hair in those like big bubble braid things.
That
And
was the best part. The bubble braids.
I was a
Yeah.
really big fan of the hair. But I think just like getting ready for Lala is like an experience. It's really fun. Brought a bunch of clothes for our other roommates, Danny and Amanda, to wear. And then Aiden was wearing, what did you wear, linen pants?
I did, yeah. So my outfit, like, I mean, obviously, like, mine was a little bit more tame because I don't dress as nice as Zoe on the day to day. So, but I wore linen pants the first time. I had this like picture in my mind, very comfortable, by the way. It was not too hot outside. It was probably high 70s. The linen pants, like, definitely kept me cool. I wore Birkenstocks, which I got a little shade for because I'm obviously getting stepped on a little bit, but I had to go more for the look. I think that might have been the first time in the past like 5 or 6 years that I wore a necklace. Yeah, so going a little bit outside the comfort zone there, but it was a great time, not just for my own fashion, just to see what other people would wear. Because I mean, some people just like straight up just like weren't wearing pants. I mean, there were some very wild outfits. The other big thing that I noticed is I don't know, I'm gonna ask if you guys saw this in Faster Horses, but a lot of people had like hydration packs on. It kind of looked like the one of those hats where you would like drink down, but like this was like a backpack and it wasn't alcohol because I mean it was that hot outside. You kind of constantly needed water. And so they just had like a straw coming out of the backpack. Just it was like a sack full of water. Was that a thing at Faster? What do you got? Did you guys see that before?
yeah, there are some of those definitely like the Camelbacks and stuff. I think it's just smart, especially people that are trying to get front row for like the headliners. I mean, you're up there, you can't really leave. You can't use the restroom, you're fucked, you lose your spot. So I mean, you're literally sitting up there for 8, 9 hours. You need some kind of hydration. So yeah, definitely. There's definitely some of that there.
Yeah.
But I do think hearing Aiden's outfit, I really think next year if you go back, I want to see like
Next
a
year.
speedo and yeah, it's a speedo and suspenders. That's it.
Whoa, I like
Um,
I almost bought
yeah,
what's it called? Overalls. I was really into that, but kind of steered away from it.
no, speedo and suspenders, bro. That's what the people want to see. Give the people what they want.
absolutely good Instagram pictures.
Yeah,
Did
you
you
go
guys
viral
have
at
the
least.
opportunity to at Fashion or any of the festivals you've been to get front row? I know one of our friends and Zoe's roommate next year, Izzy, like we didn't know she was even at Lala. Then at the end we come out. Apparently she's was waiting like 4 or 5 hours to get front row for J. Cole. Yeah, have you done that? Like I don't think like even like the artists I really like, I don't think I have the patience to wait that long or I guess didn't care enough really.
I did it one time in New Year's Eve. I think it was 2020. I ended up getting front row for Keith Urban down in Nashville. So that was cool. I would do that again, like just for a one-time thing, but someone I really cared about. But like, dude, it was by the end, like your legs are cramped, you feel miserable, you're thirsty, you run out of water, you got a piece like a fucking racehorse. Um, so it's a grind. You really have to like who's up there to do it. It's a lot more fun to be in the back because you can actually feel your legs and people aren't pushing up against you the entire time. I mean, obviously I wouldn't be front row like Travis Scott or something, because you die. But there's that at least.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we tried on the first day of Faster Horses last year, and we went really early, and I think I made it until like one or two people before the headliner, and it was just like a massive crowd pushing against us, and I was like, I can't do it. So I actually ended up leaving and went back to the back. So I think it's really intense. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, what was your favorite part of like Lollapalooza overall, Zoe? For me, I think it was just literally being surrounded by Chicago. I didn't think like I'd been to Chicago once before and I'd walked around that park that I was in, but it's kind of weird to imagine like 100,000 people just gathering there 4 days in a row, and that like it's not, it feels condensed when it's happening. When you look around, it's not that bad, just condensed like certain areas within the park. What was the big thing for you that you took away?
Yeah, no, I actually really liked the location. I think it was really cool to have it in the middle of Chicago. I wasn't really sure how like logistically that was gonna work, like for parking and everything, but they did a good job. Um, and it's a really unique setting, I think. I know there's like Gov Ball in New York. I'm not sure if that's like in Manhattan or what, but like I know Faster Horses in Brooklyn, Michigan, which is kind of the middle of nowhere. So it's cool to be in Chicago because there's more to do during the day than just go to the festivals. Like you can go to the festivals at night and just explore Chicago throughout the day. Whereas like for Faster Horses, for example, all there really is to do during the day is, drink at your campsite. So,
Yeah.
What's wrong with drinking at a campsite?
I think it gets
And
a little.
there it is. Funny story, actually. I was talking about with my coworkers about Lollapalooza like a week ago, and then I was kind of comparing to Faster, and a lot of them didn't know what Faster Horses was, and they're from Michigan. So I feel like if you're comparing the two, I mean, I thought maybe just because like I know a lot of my friends have gone to Faster, like, is it that big of a thing around the country? Like, I know Lala is, but that they just didn't know. Like, it wasn't just one; like several of them, all from Michigan, didn't know what Faster Horses was.
Honestly, I think it goes from a marketing standpoint from that. I think that your rappers, those type of guys, are a lot better at marketing themselves than country artists are. If you look at like Instagram pages, that type of thing. And also country festivals, there's so many big ones where like it's more of like a regional thing. You have obviously Faster Horses, you have Country Thunder out in Wisconsin, you have Tortuga down in Florida. So there's just so many big ones that happen around the exact same time. Actually, Country Thunder was, I believe, the exact same week as Faster Horses. So when there's so many of them that happen at the same time, you're just going to go to the one that's local. Whereas Lala is kind of like its own world. It's probably it might be the biggest music festival in the nation. I don't know that for a fact at all. Like I'm probably going to get fact checked on that. But and also when you're in a city like Chicago, you just get a lot bigger of a market than when you're in, say, some random speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan.
Yeah, I think it's
Plus,
probably
Lala's
either
been
that or
around longer too.
Coachella. I would have to imagine a lot of Coachella. The
Oh,
thing about
Coachella,
Coachella is like
yeah.
you're in the middle of a desert, and that's just like it's not like it's pretty much just people from LA going out there too. But we did have a friend go to Coachella, Sienna. We didn't even know she was going out there, and we just saw the Instagram pictures afterwards. It's like, oh, how did that happen? But yeah, yeah. Well, we're coming up on time here, but do you have any closing thoughts just on music as a whole or the concert scene in the United States, guys? I know for me, I think like I don't know which one I want to go to next. Definitely not Faster Horses. I feel like Rolling Loud could be kind of fun. I know there's like a lot of great music festivals in New York too. So kind of like not R&B, but kind of like electro music that I feel could be kind of fun. Like it's not kind of outside my comfort zone, but like not so far out of a comfort zone that it's country music. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. No, my next concert I'm going to is actually on Sunday. I'm working it. It'll be a Papa Roach concert. I know one song by him.
Who?
Can't
Yeah,
wait.
who is that? Is
Papa
that
Roach.
country?
No, it's like rock. Like it's like
Oh,
2000. Last
okay.
Resorts is like number one song, so it'll be fun.
Huh.
It's cool
Sounds
to see the
familiar.
background stuff of that. So I did a 3 Days Grace concert a couple weeks ago. That was fun too. So
Huh.
yeah,
What's
be
the
a good
next
time.
concert
But
on you're looking at, Zoe? I know Uncle Cracker. Is there T Swift coming up too?
Yeah, Taylor has not announced any tour dates yet, but I actually think I'm going to see Kendrick on Sunday at Little Caesars. And so,
Oh, dude, I wanted to see
that'd be
that so
cool.
bad, but I'm gonna be on vacation then, so be kind of out of the way to drive back from Lake Michigan all the way to Little Caesars.
so far, but I think it's going to be good. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well,
Stay
good
humble
luck
with
with
it.
that.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Okay, this has been Son of Steel. And thank you, Zoe, for coming on the podcast. Got a lot about music, got a lot about fantasy football because of the queen out here with that. And of course, cheer. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
See you guys.